I just seem to remember scenes in my dreams. Feels like they were all kind of stressed. The very earliest dream, all I remember is living in a house with other people. It seems to have at least 3 levels. And it feels like you can kind of see between some of the levels, too. But I have to keep going up to the very top level at certain hours because it's as though either some dogs or some people come into the house that don't feel entirely safe. So I have to be on that very top level where I can kind of seal it off a little so that they aren't pursuing me there. If there's a certain person around, it's like they don't harm you. It's just like I'm on the edge a lot, would be the best way of describing it, because of this sense that they can pursue you or something.
This is a dream that has you playing with a common illusion that exists in the outer. And the illusion is that what is taking place around you can affect you or catch up with you and can hurt you and can find the access to you if it really wants to. And therefore, there's no place that you can go which is safe, even though deep down you kind of know that you can go to the top of the house and be okay. In other words, there is an isolated part inside yourself that is secure and safe, but you're never sure. And the reason why you're never sure is because you're only acting based upon best guesses. You don't really know because you don't have good conscious connection to that deep heart of hearts depth of yourself to know if it's going to be okay or not. So what's this dream about? What does it mean? What is it suggesting? What is it really talking about? If you look at it in the full macrocosm sense, it's like you're talking as creation. And what you're saying is that you know that everything is okay. The appearances may suggest otherwise, and the appearances can even be a bit alarming to you. However, deep, deep, deep inside, you have to go with your best guess. And your best guess, even though you can't prove it to be true, is that there is a way that you can go into a safe place within. And whatever happens can't touch you. Whatever appears to be happening can't actually reach you. You're not sure about that, however, but you think that it is so. And so it's like this is a dream in which there is a kind of contrast that is being proposed as existing in terms of a kind of separation. In other words, there's the feminine subjectivity of a wholeness, and then there's the masculine energy that takes and probes out into all of life that is the realm of the feminine, which is creation. And the masculine probes out with an energy that kind of has a bit of a makeup that feels a little bit separate. And the reason why it feels separate is because the depth of that aspect of quality that feels separate is so hidden within the feminine because it has the outer caricature of itself that it reflects, that the two don't often come into cohesion. In other words, they don't come into cohesion in the ordinary senses of waking reality. They are in cohesion in the innermost sanctum of life as we know it, which includes light, vibrations, and other levels. We function without the ability to realize that everything is really connected and intertwined. We can understand it in principle and in theory, but in an outer world, it's hard to sustain and maintain that level of sight because everything in its appearances is against that. It's easy then to draw the conclusion that things can be created or destroyed. The idea that something can be created or destroyed is possible when there is the belief that a separation actually exists. When a separation actually exists, then something can die or be hurt. But if everything is intertwined, that just isn't actually possible, or you'd be violating a fundamental truth of the universe, that energy can be neither created nor destroyed. It simply is a wholeness that is everywhere. And the only thing that can appear to be changeable is the form, the outer reflections. But the inner shifts and changes at will. But someone who is limited, like an ordinary human being coming off of the typical faculties, cannot catch up with that. They can only work off of the appearances of what they have in terms of their ordinary faculties. And so, because they see things as separate, distinguishable, as having a density, as being manifested and designed to look like they function independently in the outer, there is then the conclusion that things can be hurt, destroyed, contaminated, and all of that. But at the heart of hearts is the understanding that this can never be so. In your dream, you are trying to play with this principle. You are caught in a scenario in which you see yourself as having to go off into a kind of separation. You've gone to the farthest reaches that you can go inside of yourself, and into this room you come to find that perhaps there is security and perhaps there is not. Are you actually able to touch that depth that lies outside of the senses? Your intuition can tell you that this should and does feel okay, but your outer perceptions do not necessarily coincide, and so you don't know. And as a consequence, it is easy to lose faith. It's easy to lose trust. It's easy to have fear. And all of that thing contributes to the delusion. So we live in a world in which the lack of faith, the lack of trust, the fear, all is running rampant. And to the degree that one identifies with any of that, as opposed to the heart of heart, you find yourself then having to try to find an escape that leads to a safety, deep down knowing that that's possible, but rationally not having that conscious connection to know for sure.